Hello everybody, welcome my another episode of this podcast. Today with me I have a special guest, it is Scott Walker. He's a solicitor. Would you like to have a solicitor on your side when you are dealing with problems with your legal stuff? I would definitely want to have a great contact with people like Scott. And that is why he is here. He will share with us what he's doing, what is his story, how we get into training another legal people from the business, and how we can maybe help you to accomplish your business, make it better, or just if you have some questions you want to start, maybe. Hi, Scott. Thank you very much for coming.
Hi, Vincent. Great to be here. And thank you for inviting me on.
You are welcome. It's nice to having you. I mean, we have met originally through PSA community, which for some of people, they don't know, it's a professional speaking association. How long actually are you a member of the PSA community?
I also joined this year, funnily enough. So it was around about the summertime. And yeah, it's been fantastic community to be part of so far. Some great people to learn from and meet. So yeah, fantastic experience.
Okay, so can you tell us a little bit more about exactly what you do as a solicitor, because you do also training in other people. So, this is something which is kind of interesting, because every solicitor I met, they just work for their, they have their own firm, or they, work for that company, but you also train other people. So can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm a consultant solicitor. And so that means I'm self-employed. So I work for a firm, but I'm effectively on my own as a self-employed solicitor. So I do all my client work through Richard Nelson solicitors. I work remotely and I can do other things, which has been a great experience because, as you mentioned, I started moving into the world of training, so helping other legal professionals with their training needs. So as a solicitor, my main area is helping people to protect their assets and loved ones. So that's usually through making wills and lasting powers of attorney, but it may also be of other areas such as probate. So when somebody passes away, it could be helping relatives if they are in situations where they're getting into later life or they have an illness. So it covers a wide range. But as a consultant at Richard Nelson, we have other consultant solicitors who do all types of law. Whether that's for individuals, or it could be for businesses as well. So and yeah, so I moved into training side, which I mainly do in the area of wills and probate.
So a few things we just pop up over here. When you mentioned that you have this flexibility, you can work remotely, it's very nice to see, because from all the movies and from all the TV shows I've ever seen, the solicitors are always in the office, like from 7 a.m. till like midnight. This is always what I can only see in the kind of on the screen. So, but you are saying that you can do it differently, right?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. That's such a great point, because that's usually been the case. I think the legal profession has been quite slow with remote working. A long time ago, there were firms who had cottoned on to the fact that, okay, we can work differently. We don't have to be based in the office, and we can allow, our lawyers to have flexibility. So there are a number of larger firms who created this consultancy model. So we do our work, we serve our clients through the firm. So we weren't necessarily based in an office. And then, of course, over the last few years, that's been forced upon us. So, some of us within the legal sector has kind of expanded into consultancy and allowed our lawyers to work from home. And it's been a really interesting, we're going to say, experiment. I'm not sure if that's quite the right word, but it's been interesting to see how it helps our clients, because it means, we can see them, we can serve them at their convenience. They don't have to come to an office. They can be at home and, and relax. And I often find with the area law that I do, that can be helpful for some people, because we are discussing quite quite difficult topics with what I do. So and it allows us to concentrate on helping our clients in a much better way.
It's really good to see, because just a few things is, one thing is that during the COVID, it was forced for a lot of people to start working remotely and do those things. And a lot of people, they like, yeah, I hate COVID, something happened, or I lost my job, or this happened. But for all bad, there is a good, right? And this is really good thing, to be honest, like that a lot of people can do and work remotely. I'll just give you example. I have a newborn baby. She's 3 weeks old, and I'm just at home in my office. If I would need to go and go somewhere, so I wouldn't have the time to cook a breakfast for my kids. I couldn't be around here. And when I finish this interview with you, I'll just actually go and help my wife to cook the lunch for them. But if I would need to go somewhere, it's gonna be taking me much more time. And with you are a solicitor. I've been in a solicitor office multiple times because of property. And so when I went there, so first of all, I don't live in a city, so I need to travel. So it's a travel time. And after I came there, and there was the appointment booked, but anyway, I had to be seated in the waiting kind of area. So I was there minimum 10-15 minutes before the solicitor took me to his office. So all the time I spent over there, it was like unnecessary time, which if we do it through the Zoom, like we just go right into the Zoom and to the point, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that has opened up a lot of a lot of different ways of working and helping people, and as you say, it's not just about flexibility for us, it's flexibility for clients, for everybody, and just finding a way that we can better help them and fit around their schedule. It is a fantastic model. More firms are doing this. More firms are allowing people to work remotely, whether it's as a consultant. And I think the way we do live our lives, and you mentioned you're recently becoming a father, and that's just a great example of how it can really help our lives.
Also, the other point in here, when you mentioned the will, yeah, so you are dealing with will and with people. How is called the other word? I never heard that.
Okay, so it's lasting power of attorney. Lasting powers of attorney, so they're slightly different. So will is dealing with what happens when you pass away. So lasting power of attorney is more when you are still alive. So it's being able to give somebody the ability to make decisions for you if you are unable to make those yourself. So it might be because of an illness. The usual example is if you develop dementia, which reduces your ability to make decisions, and that might be about finances. It could be about running your business. It could be it's an extension really to will making. So you've mentioned earlier, you've got your will, this is what I want to happen when I die. But with a power of attorney, it's taking it that step further and saying, okay, if something happens to me, if I become incapable, then my life can continue because somebody can step in. An ideal way to just make sure you're covering all bases, you're protecting everything, every aspect of your life.
And would you say that majority of people who wants those services, they'll be on the side of they are a little bit older already, so they are thinking about those things? Or is it like anybody, like even like let's say I'm 32, so you have a clients also like me who already think about those things?
It is a bit of a range. So traditionally, I think when it comes to wills, powers of attorney, we often think that it's people who are older. I think the research out there suggests that the age bracket for people making wills and powers of attorney usually sits 50 plus. But I do have clients and who are a lot younger. just thinking about these issues, it might be that something is happening in their life, you know, a new relationship, it might be a relationship breakdown, it might be a family member who is ill. So it makes them think about all these different things. So I definitely see an increase in people of a younger age. You know, I often encourage people to, you know, at least think about it. And the earlier you can do it, arguably it's better.
Yeah.
Because things will change in the future. So it's just a way of starting these conversations about, well, you know, what is going to happen when I die? It's going to happen to all of us eventually.
That's
But
what
that's it.
No, I'm just asking those things because I think it's about educating people about that topic as well, like about educating young people about those things that are important even for everybody. So it's not just for old people who actually they see like, okay, I'm in that age, I should kind of think about that, but could be about anybody, right? I used to work in the Czech Republic as a financial consultant for 3 years, and basically I was selling life insurance, and one of the things, and some younger people like in my age, I had a life insurance since I'm, you know, forever actually, and they would say like, no, but I'm healthy, I don't need any life insurance. It's like, that's exactly why you need one, because you are healthy, so it's going to be cheaper, and basically you, when you are sick, nobody will insure you. So, and the same like in here, like, so when you already get the dementia, you cannot give probably some more power of attorney if you cannot think clearly, right?
Exactly.
So you kind of need to do it when you are healthy and when is the you expect it the least. Yeah, and also one of the things with the will, which I didn't know, and I still don't have it, so maybe we can chat about that after on the meeting, is I do have a life insurance in here in UK. And when I was speaking with a guy who was doing it for me, he said like, what about will? And I didn't really think about it. I was like, yeah, maybe not yet. But after he pointed one good thing, but I didn't actually act on it in that time. And he said like, if something happened to you and you don't have a will, it's gonna go all through the legal process. It's gonna take a while before actually your wife get this money from the life insurance. It's gonna be months. But if you have a will, she can get it kind of quickly, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely, it's a really good point. I think, you know, with a will, it certainly makes it easier. I mean, with life insurance, so it's usually separate anyway. So if I often say to people, if you've got life assurance, just make sure it's written into trust. And that just means it sits outside of your estate, so to speak. So it makes it more accessible. So as you say, being able to, you know, have the proceeds a lot quicker, you know, at a time when, you know, those your partner or your family, you know, they need access to that potentially quite quickly. So, and you know, having the will simplify everything, because you know what's going to happen. You know, you're not relying on what the law says.
Yeah.
If you don't have a will. So it does get very, very messy. And I see a lot of that with clients I've worked with in the past. It's you're going through a lot of different stages and trying to work out what's going to happen. So,
And because I've never experienced that, so I don't know how it works exactly. So let's say I will have a will. So let's say I'll say to my partner, I have a will or something, or the solicitor keeps a track of that. And after, if I would die, the solicitor contacts my wife, or how does it work exactly? Or she needs to go and she's like, here's the will, what is written there, what shall we do? What's the process of that? Because, you know, I've never experienced that, so I actually don't know.
yes, yeah. Again, it's such an interesting point. So the best thing to do is to keep a copy of the will at home. So usually what would happen, so you make your will with a solicitor, with a professional, they will keep the original. So they keep it stored, so it's in secure storage, so it's safe. And then once it's been signed, and then you have a copy. So keep that copy at home, and but also tell your executors. So whoever you have said in the will the people who are going to manage your estate deal with your will, so they're called executors. So tell your executors that you've made a will and tell them where it's being stored. So tell them the solicitors it's being stored at, or the other professional firm where it's being stored. So they know at the time that they need to go to that place. What we don't have, unfortunately, is in the UK anyway, is a system of registration. So in some countries, you have to register your will so people know that you've made one, but also where it is. You know, it can sometimes cause a bit of difficulty. So I often say, just tell your family, tell your executors that you've made the will, that you have, you know, where it is. I mentioned we don't have to register a will in the UK, but we do have the National Will Register, so it's optional. But it is a place where you can, again, you can register centrally that you've made a will and where it's being stored. So
thank you for answering that. It's really helpful, actually, because yeah, I don't think so many people think about that, especially even like younger people, because everybody's focusing like what to do, how to build a business, how to live a great life. But when it comes to, you know, like death and, you know, what to do after with family where you live behind, it's like kind of topic which not many people talk about. So it's really good that you are sharing those things. It's really helpful. And so so that's your solicitor when you do job, and I know you are self-employed. And when it comes to when it comes to training into it, like you said, like you are training another legal professional. So how that happened? Like when did you start, and when did you say to yourself like, oh, okay, let's train another legal professionals? I feel like, you know, I'll be good for that.
yes, yeah, it was quite an interesting journey. I started self-employment 2 years ago at the start of 2022. And as a lot of people, you know, that was as a result of what had just happened, and realizing that I wanted to do different things, and actually it was a way of reducing my stress levels. Actually, you know, work when I was working in private practice for various firms, it can get a little bit fraught. But I started to explore teaching, and I applied for a role and got a role as a visiting lecturer at the University of Law. So that's teaching students, the potential lawyers, so usually at postgraduate level, and they're usually people who want to enter the legal profession. So I started that and just absolutely loved it. Really enjoyed, you know, helping students, teaching the area of law that I do. And that opened a few doors, in all honesty. I started posting about it on LinkedIn, strangely enough, and that was being seen by people who provided, so training providers, and that led to some opportunities to get involved with training my peers and other legal professionals. So it just kind of happened, and so I started working for one particular training provider, doing mainly webinars, so online training, and then I've collaborated with a few other well-known trainers within the area of law I do, and yeah, so it again, I just find it really rewarding, and you know, it's a way of me being able to learn, but also, you know, passing on knowledge and my experiences. And it's again, you know, it was an opportunity to do something different, and you know, explore a different part of me, and you know, learn about myself. And you know, I wasn't sure whether I would be able to teach and whether I would like it. So it was great that I discovered that actually, you know, this could be a really interesting route to take.
So Yeah, two things. So one thing, it was the first one, what you said, like, how did you go about it? That you went on the university, you started to helping students. So how does it make you feel when you help them and you teach them, and maybe they have some breakthroughs, or they have this aha moment, like, oh, okay, actually, that's what it is. I didn't know it from that book, but when he said it, I get it now. How does it feel?
I mean, it feels great. So I have to admit that I learn a lot from the students.
Mhm.
So they have this uncanny ability to ask questions that you would never have thought of. And and that I just find completely just fascinating. But it's because they're new to the subject, so their perception of it is very, very different.
Mhm.
So, for me, that just makes me feel okay. I'm learning so much here myself, and it's it's been a great way of being able to almost say to people, and I suppose almost inspire people just to think differently about the area of law that I do. So when I first started out in law, people would say, oh, you want to do wills and probate law, that's quite boring.
Mhm.
Lots of people want to do all the kind of commercial and corporate areas of law.
Mhm.
But for me, I just the subject itself is so interesting, and there's a lot to it. So it's very stimulating. It does keep you it keeps you engaged because it is so interesting. So be able to you know say to students, well, actually, this area of law is great to be able to go into.
Mhm.
It's just so satisfying. It's inspiring the next generation of lawyers, I guess.
It's everything is about, I think, teacher or trainer or whoever is that is mentor, who, if it's a good one, so you can, influence those students in the direction where they wouldn't think about it maybe before, but because if you know how to present it, and that actually, some people can connect with the same feelings what you are experiencing with your clients, so they're like, oh, it's actually something what I would like. But a lot of people, they don't think about it because nobody tell them this way, right? So as you said, like there is this kind of sticker, like, oh, that's boring, or this is boring, and after everybody thinks it's like that, but the opposite could be true, right?
Yes, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's and as I said before, students, they do look at things very differently. So that's great to see.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Mm.
It's nice to be able to help them through it, and
Mm.
and learn about the law.
Another thing is what I would like to point out in here is because I see it very, it's a problem for a lot of my clients because I'm doing coaching, and it was problem also for me when I started. And you mentioned that you started posting on social media, on LinkedIn, and from there you had some training company, they contacted you, and now you are starting doing webinars with them, and this is how it kind of started, doing those trainings for another legal professionals, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And just wanted to find out from you, how was it for you just to like decided of posting on social media? Because a lot of people, they are like, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to post, who is gonna be listening me, what do I know, I don't want to look stupid, my family will think about me, what about those people? And they have those roadblocks in their head, and I'm just telling them all the time, like, sooner you start, better for you. But some people, they are like on go and they just do it, but some people, they are like really having those voices in their head. Like, how was it with you? Have you had those voices, or you were like, no, let's do it?
I absolutely had those voices and still have. It is a challenge. It really is. And when I first started, so at the time I was working with a coach. Well, and at the time when I was first starting going or thinking about moving into self-employment, and as my coach was saying, just just do it, just practice, think about what you can say, think about the subjects and that you can talk about. And I actually started doing video content, so that was my kind of introduction to it. And I'd LinkedIn, I've been on for years and years, probably since its first inception. I never really posted the odd thing, but I just started experimenting. And so as I say, did video content, just practice, just got it out there. And I think probably in the back of my mind, I was thinking, I've just got to do it because I've gone into, I'm now self-employed. I need to just get myself out there. So that was the reason. So that drove me to think, okay, I'm just going to forget what people think, forget about the voices. Actually did a little bit of training in LinkedIn. Well, quite a bit of training in how to create content and how to use LinkedIn, and that helped as well build my confidence. And by experimenting, I just discovered doing kind of almost personal content, or just talking about subjects that you're really passionate about. So I've learned that's probably that's a good way, because it will come, if you do a post and it's something that you're really interested in, you're really passionate about, that will show in your words. And usually, not always, it's a little bit easier to write because it's something that you care about. So again, that was another way of just getting content out there, and trying not to worry. It's easier said than done, but most of the time, certainly in my experience, people are generally positive. You get the occasional people who don't like what you do or make a certain comment, but it's difficult. It's
absolutely. I think it's more people. They are the positive people. They encourage you. They comment something nice, and that is a small part of people. They don't have a nice comments. Let's say it happened to me in the past as well. But also when you see you are starting to have some, let's say, hate, let's call it this way. So that means that you are becoming successful, right? Because you have more people who hate you. So it's actually a good sign as well.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, so what are your plans with your training and your business? What is it you are seeing yourself in, I don't know, for 2024, what is it you would want to do? Do you have any goals or something what you want to achieve for that year?
So yes, I'm just trying to work out what 2024 might look like, but I hope to just continue to get myself out there, build my own brand, and just think about doing more training, whether that's with other organizations. And there might be a time next year where I think about, well, how can I build upon what I've done already, and find a way of doing my own training for other professionals. My overall goal is to move into training full time. I think that's what I would like to do. I've always said I will probably stay within private practice, so I'd still help clients, because that also helps with the training, because I know what's going on with within the day-to-day law with what I do, and I love helping clients anyway, so I wouldn't want to give that up completely. But I'm also, so next year is I'm about to launch a workshop for everybody. Actually, it's going to be free to attend, and it's going to be about the importance of wills and powers of attorney, as we were speaking about earlier. So that's another plan.
And is it going to be online or?
Yeah, so mainly online. I may do it within in person as well, but predominantly, and it will be online.
And do you have already like a dates for that when the first workshop will be, or do you have like so people can register? I'm just thinking if some people will be interested, we can include the link in the description so people can, you know, register for that. If you have something already, I don't know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I'm just setting it up now, so it's just about to go live, and the date is, I think it's the 17th of January will be the first one.
Okay, so it's yeah, just in 1 month. Perfect.
So in a month's time, yeah. So that's
Okay.
quite exciting.
Okay, great. So thank you very much for everything what you shared regarding the legal stuff, because you know it's so much, so much to actually know, and not many people actually teach about those things. I don't see that very often, to be honest, online, or I don't know. I just don't know much about it. And before we go, would you have anything like you have this transition that you went to self-employed in 2022? Is there anything like if there are some people who are maybe working and they want to start their own business, or maybe they are afraid, maybe they don't know what to do, maybe they are struggling with some parts. Is there any like a tip or two tips? What is it? Some message what you would want to share with people? Maybe what helped you to overcome that, and you are where you are at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I think from my experience over the last few years, it's just been have great support around you. So if you have people who will cheer you on, then that is fantastic, because that will give you the, you know, the confidence to know that you can, you know, you can do this. And also, I mean, it's easy to say, but just being brave and just going for it. So, you know, realizing that it will work out. You know, as I say, it's easy to say, but I think once you start, so from my experience, once you start doing it, then it will fall into place. And you know, it's just a case of committing and saying, I'm gonna do this. Let's see what happens. And just having the right people around you who can encourage and support you through the journey. So that's been the best two things which have helped me over the last few years.
Perfect. Thank you very much for sharing. I definitely agree. I think it's about, you know, not be afraid, take action, just do something, even a small step, just do it. And with the people to cheer you up. In many occasions, what I see, especially with my clients or with other people, is very often we need to find actually new peer group, new people who are there to cheer us, because sometimes the old peer group, they don't want us to do it, they don't want us to succeed. Maybe they are jealous, maybe there are some different things in their head why they wouldn't actually cheer us, or maybe it's not gonna be as honest from them. And sometimes it hurts because they can be friends, which you thought they are friends, and that's where people a lot of times struggle. So I think it's very good, important to find this community of people which they can cheer you up, so you can find new people. There are lots of people on the planet. So just find the right.
Yeah,
Perfect.
absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Scott, for your time today. I really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to meet you again in person in some of the PSA events. And if you can share with me the link for the webinar when you are doing the workshop, I'll add it in the description, and that'll be all.
Yeah, thanks so much for that, Vincent. That's great. And yeah, great to be on. Thanks so much once again for inviting me onto the podcast. It's been fantastic to talk to you.